Mr. Harrison, in your former books there are characters from the working class or even from some barrack towns. Where did you find your types or your characters for your books?
Well,
is it in your mind or is it?
Yeah, well, of course, when I was looking for material for books. Of course, I'm listening and I'm reading and I'm looking around, trying to find something that will fit my my style and my ambitions and so on. And like this barrack towns, barrack quarters that I describe in these old books.
Yeah.
It was something I was finishing my first novel that has never been translated anywhere. It was only published in Iceland. And I was looking for something interesting to write about. And then I stumbled over this the settings, you could say.
Yeah, settings,
the barracks.
Yeah.
And then I heard some stories about a family living in such place. And I decided this was a perfect stuff for a novel. So I decided to write one novel about these people. It ended up with being 3. But it's just like with this new character in Storm.
Yeah.
It's I knew someone like him. So I've been thinking for a long time, how will I go about and make a novel of it, because he would be perfect for a novel.
I see. And so you are interested in broken or spoiled characters. Do you collect them, or do you have little cards where you have character cards, or is it like if you have an idea for a new book, how do you begin? With a character or with a...
Yeah. It's always the characters. But I don't know. I have written many novels. Some of them are spoiled and on the edge of society or something, eccentrics. But some are not. Some are more even. I don't think there is anything like a normal person. There is nobody. I've never met anyone who is normal. Everyone is different from everyone else in some way, and it's the eye of a novelist is the eye that can see the differences. You know, everyone can see the similarities because they are 99%. We are not 99% all the same. But the differences is what the eye of the novelist is after. And people who are more different than the others from the rest are, of course, often more interesting for a novel than. So eccentric, special types. That's what I'm.
And if you compare the settings of your early books, it was mid-80s to now, to the society in Iceland now. Are there main changes? Would you say the society there changed, or over the years?
I wrote my like these barrack histories. I wrote in the 80s, mid-80s, but they take place in the late 50s, early 60s, and from that time society has changed a lot. At that time, the society was undergoing tremendous changes, because when modern times, they came slowly into the rest of like Europe with the Industrial Revolution and cities being formed and so on. But in Iceland, nothing changed until the World War II, something like that. So we had a very primitive type of society, rural, ancient. Like this, we were still using the same language as in the Viking times.
Yeah.
It was, it's just an example of, we were still using the same tools, building the same houses.
Yeah.
Nothing had changed. And then, overnight almost, modern times came to Iceland, and it was in these years, 1940s, 50s, early 60s. And that was a very interesting time, like all times of rapid changes or transitions. But since then, well, we grew into a typical modern European or Western society. And since then, I don't think there has been so many changes, you know. There are always some revolutions coming and going, you know, the TV or computers or something like that. But we are still listening to the same rock and roll music, for example.
But what about the using of internet technology? Because the Scandinavian countries, especially Finland, where you have long distances, they're very keen to use this internet and mobile phone technique. Is it similar to Iceland?
Yeah.
Is there a high-tech industry or something?
Yes, it is. I think there are even more. We are even further than the Finns, both in these areas.
Yeah.
You know, 60–70% of all homes have ADSL connections, and there are more cell phones than people, I think.
Yeah, and these you mentioned that you wrote in this trilogy about poor people in a barrack town. Would that high-tech society in Iceland interesting for fiction, for your fiction? Are you interested in new developments in your country? Is it interesting for doing a book out of it, or is it not the way you work, or not the way you found sources for your books?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know, technical innovations or new things in technology or something. I wouldn't say that was interesting from my point of view, but if there are interesting people involved, they would.
Yeah.
Then you know, society and techniques and so on it's just a background, and as good a background as anything else.
Yeah. And I read you for 1 year in Berlin, and do you think your point of view changed after you becoming a so-called a famous writer? You can travel, you see different countries, different cultures. Does it influence the way you write? That you're getting more international, that you get an international view, or are you still based on your roots in Iceland?
Well, yeah, I'm very much based on my roots in Iceland, but from a very early age I had ideas of traveling and seeing the world. I have many memories of myself, you know, going through books about different kinds of countries, pictures and so on. I had a Viewmaster, you remember you click and see a new picture, and I still remember my deep fascination as a 6–7-year-old with Madagascar. I had some films from the Viewmaster, but at that time traveling was not so common as now. So it wasn't really until I was a teenager that I started working on a freight ship, a cargo ship, and started sailing around. My first memories of coming to Germany, for example, was we were sailing from Iceland with a load of some calcium stuff, kísilgút, something like that, made in northern Iceland, and we were bound for Hamburg. So my first experience of Germany was sailing up the Elbe on a cargo ship. I was at the steering wheel, and there was a pilot from land, you know, saying the direction. And then we came to Hamburg, and like seamen. And after Hamburg, we sailed through the
North-Ostsee Canal?
North-Ostsee Canal.
Baltic Sea?
Yeah. We were going to Sweden to pick up timber or something like that, bound for Iceland. So, and the next 2 summers and 1 winter, I was always working on a ship like